National Association of Realtors just said that the average age of a first-time homebuyer is now 40. 40! And if that sounds crazy to you, it certainly sounded crazy to me. Let's look at the data and see what's true and what's just kind of methodology noise. NAR's data suggests that the average first-time homebuyer is now 40 years old. That's up from 28 years old in 1992. That sounds dramatic until you kind of compare it to other data sets. The New York Fed suggested that the average age of a first-time homebuyer is now 36 years old, not 40, and that's a pretty big gap. So why the mismatch? It comes down to how each group collects its data. NAR mails a 120-question survey to households, and they mailed this out to 173,000 new households, and they only got a response rate of 3.5%, meaning who answers the survey matters a lot. The New York Fed, on the other hand, uses credit report data. They track about 5% of the entire population, and they've done so since 1999. It's not a survey, so it's not subjected to response bias, but it also misses cash buyers. NAR is pointing out, rightly, that about 9% of all first-time home buyers did so paying cash, and therefore the Fed is missing that in their data collection. Fed pushes back, saying they don't have the low response issue from the survey because they are looking at credit report data. So both of them have blind spots. What's the safest metric? It's not surveys, it's not credit report data. It's looking at generational homeownership rates by age. When you look at that data, when you look at charts by places like Apartment List, you can see that every single generation is taking longer than the one before it to buy their first home. Boomers were slower than the silent generation, Gen X was slower than boomers, Millennial was slower than Gen X, and Gen Z is even slower than millennials. Now, of course, a lot of that's going to come from affordability, but also a lot of that happens to be lifestyle delays. The data is very clear that Americans are kind of delaying what we see as traditional moments in life. We're spending more time in school, we are marrying later, we are having kids later, we're living with parents longer. All of these things impact when someone buys their first home. So yes, first-time home buyers are older today, but that headline of first-time home buyers are 40 years old, you kind of have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. Real driver isn't just affordability, though that is an issue. It's also generational life patterns.